Hello, my name is Derek Snow, if you don't know me already, and I'm the trainer with No Dog Left Behind, training and behavior consulting. Today I want to offer you some clear tips on how to keep safe on your bike rides with your dogs. I've been seeing a lot of people running their dogs beside their bicycles because it's really efficient use of time and the dog expends a substantial amount of energy. Not to mention it's easy to do, really, because it's so much more of a natural pace for your dog to enjoy. But commonly, people are one, not wearing a helmet, which I think is probably a good idea when you're running a medium to large breed dog that could haul you down. And number two, they're holding the leash with one of their hands, and then they're holding the handlebars with the other hand. This is incredibly dangerous because when you're dealing with a medium or large dog, if they get distracted, even if they just had to, like, say, poop and you weren't paying attention, or if they charge towards a squirrel, another dog, another person, fill in the blank, anything, you're going to be very off center and off balance if your hand is holding the leash. Because as soon as they pull, it pulls your body with you, and then you will compensate or overcorrect. And just a little side note story here. My own dad did a face plant while he was running my oldest dog, Ozzy. This was probably 7 years ago, maybe, but in any event, I had mentioned to my dad to not hold the leash with his one hand because I thought it was dangerous. And he didn't listen. He just wrapped it a few more times around his hand. And at the time, Ozzy had a prey drive to squirrels, and they were riding bike. Ozzy running beside my dad, and my dad driving the bike, of course, on in Spring Creek Park, kind of off of Simcoe there. Anyways, Ozzy charged towards the squirrel, and my dad fell, and his face stopped him on the ground, and he was pretty cut up, and he had a mild concussion, and he was disoriented, and it took him some time to find his way back to the house, and it was not pretty. I felt bad for him, and it could have just been easily avoided if he had used some better judgment. But sometimes it's tough to listen to your own kid. Usually dad knows best, and that's true. He usually does. In any event, the answer was, and what I told to him was to take your leash, usually a four, depending on if the dog is a medium or large breed, you want a little bit of a shorter leash, about 4 feet. You can use a 6 foot leash, but you have to wrap it around your seat post a handful of times. So what I would do is I would wrap the leash around the seat post once, and I would weave the clip portion of the leash through the handle. So it tightens up and kind of makes a noose around your seat post. And then if it's a longer leash, you just have to wrap it around your seat post and some of the framework to shorten it up a little bit, where it's still sturdy and won't adjust in size if the dog pulls. The reason I like the seat post is because providing you put your rear end on the seat and you keep it there, your weight is more evenly distributed right there. And if your dog does charge at something, you're only going to feel like a little bit of a tug, and the dog won't drag you down. Unless, I mean, the dog is 3 times the size of you, and you have got a Great Dane, and you're 96 pounds. Well, then you might not want to run your dog beside your bike. But if the dog is smaller than you, I mean, you're going to be okay. Feels a little bit unusual at first when the dog if it moves and pulls towards something, but as long as your bum's on the seat, it's so much safer. There are mechanisms you can buy off Amazon where it's a little bit more professional looking, or is manufactured specifically for this purpose to bike your dog. But for me, this is adequate. The shorter leash is good too because a longer leash, the dog can go in front of you, and there's nothing good that's going to come out of the dog being able to pass in front of your front tire, and then you hit it, and then you guys have an accident. But if it's a 4 foot leash or so, and even if you shorten it up a bit where the dog's got some room to move in to and fro but can't get in front of you, it's not really a big deal if the dog goes behind you because you're not really in danger at that point. Um, when you ride a bike with a dog, there's a lot more things to consider and risks. So it really just depends on yourself if the risks are worth the reward. And for me, they were for years because I was exercising a lot of dogs. So it was really efficient for me to ride my bike because I could ride my bike for a couple hours and exercise like 10 dogs. And that was a lot easier than me running 10 dogs beside me or walking 10 dogs. So, you know, for a lot of people, it's good. Busy lifestyle, good bang for your buck. And it's easy because the dog just such a more natural of a pace. In any event, I'll wrap it up at that. But just remember, wrap that leash around your seat post and keep your bum on the ground and be aware of anything standing upright, like a tree or a sign. Your dog is going to gravitate to want to sniff them, and the last thing you want your dog to do is go and charge to sniff them and get on the other side of it, because then you'll have an accident, even if the leash is around the seat post. So stay away from upright, vertical signs, trees, fire hydrants, anything the dog's going to go gravitate to sniff towards and can get stuck on the other side. And then you guys meet in the middle and hit each other. Unpleasant. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye bye.